how these come shaped a little funny. Instructions, numbers, 6, 6, left hand rear. Oh, hey guys, how you doing? Glad you come by. The winter storm's about to come through, so we're gonna get this over with so we can get you back home in time. I don't want you stuck here in the barn. It gets cold. I don't want to spend the wood to keep you warm, but we're gonna do that for at least an hour. Hey, got some brake lines. We're gonna figure out the brake system. We got master cylinder and clutch disengagey thing, and a bunch of little blocks and some rubber things and brake fluid, the number 4 dot type. I'll explain that. Hey, welcome back. Let's get busy. Hope you're dressed warm. It's a little chilly. So this is a kit from the Moss Motors. Comes with these little plastic doodabs. I don't know what, I'm going to build a plastic model. I might save it for that someday. Also, I believe it's got a part number, so I can look it up on the catalog and see what it is, because I've got boxes of stuff, but we're going to figure out how to make these do the thing they're supposed to do, which is not that. But there's instructions, there's numbers on them, so I know which one goes where. That's a big help. But what I need to do now first is fix this. Yeah, I got pins and stuff to get off of the old one. I've got new pedals. I want to get this all painted up, looking nice, and sitting over by the fire and get baking while we mess around with all this. So, and I saved all the old brake lines. There's a reason I saved all of them. It's going to help. You're about to see. Jeez. So I want to paint this pedal box. Well, it turns out this cross bolt, the nut was loose, so that was out for some reason. I thought, well, how's this go in? Well, there's little spacers here, and they go through those holes on our boot action, right? So I looked underneath, and it can't bolt on top. It's too big. The camera's getting cold. Camera gets cold, it does that funniness. So I'm thinking that this is where the return springs hook to, I think, because that's never been out. That's just a long bolt, and there's our square hole way up there. So I believe the plate bolts to here with the pedal sticking through the hole, with the boot sticking through the hole, and then there's like 1, 2, 3 bolts on each side. Maybe not. Maybe that plate has to go in the top. That makes no sense. That's going to take me a minute to figure this out. I don't know. Okay, a couple things. Got this apart. First thing is, this gap is about that much wider than these bushings and everything put together. So I believe there's a couple of washers missing, maybe one washer. I don't want to cram this all together, have it interfere with the sides or anything, so I'm going to have to get that figured out. Got the bolt out, and what I found out is someone put this together so that it would just stay together. That's why the bolt wasn't tight. But this, and you MGA guys are yelling and screaming, and what a dummy I am. This slides underneath our master cylinder box. So that's why this has been up from somebody grabbing it and jerking it out of there, or out of some car. So those two holes bolt together, and the cowl bolts that bolt the body down onto the frame go right here, along with, you know, our boot. Then we put the pedals up through there, put the bolt through it, tighten it all up, get our bolts and everything lined up, which that'll be fun by myself. Then I'll put my boot on top of that with my bracket that goes on top of that and tighten it all down. Then there's like 2 on each side underneath the car. Man, see, I want to figure all this out. I don't want to take the wiper motor, by the way, goes in this underneath the cowl, pokes through behind the cowl and goes underneath the dash. So I've got to do that too, just so it's in there and I ain't got to take it back out, hopefully. I got it soaking with some tar and bug remover because it won't evaporate, it'll soak. We'll get that clean that up good with a brush and get it all cleaned up, make it look pretty nice. Lube the cables, and I would imagine that that's bent, and that's probably bent a little bit. I just want to kind of get it where it goes, bolted down here, because the wiring goes around all this and the master cylinder. Putting together a car you did not take apart or have never put together, man, this has taken a long time. All right, let me get my shims figured out, so that's going to be like I like it. Then I'll clean everything up, get it painted and ready to put together, I hope. Well, something like that. There is just a little bit of side-to-side play, but nice and loose, snug. They're not moving this way, right? That's what I don't want, because there's push rods that go, well, they go this way into one side's the clutch, one side's the brakes, and you don't want them, you know, hit the brake and it goes crooked, and you know, just a little bit I think's okay. Just got a little bit. So I'll take this all apart, get all this stuff cleaned up, painted up, clean these bushings. There's a center bushing that goes on the bolt. There's another bushing that goes around that bushing that goes inside this. So you got to grease all that up and you put it together. And I've got to do these, all the washers and all that, because you can't stick the pedals through that hole. I got to put the plate in, then stick the pedals up through the plate and put that bolt in. Maybe my 7-year-old will come help. Well, don't you know it, one thing after another. So there's your metal sleeve that goes through the brass bushing, which is apparently supposed to be pressed into the pedal. Took this one apart and the bushing came out. It's broken halvesies. This is the one that had a little more slop in it. Well, that'd be why. No, I don't have another one, but I do. This rusted old pedal set, see that bushing in there, so I've got to figure out how to drive that bushing out without totally destroying it and putting it in that pedal. It's kind of a good thing it happened, because if you look at this spacer right there that goes between the pedals, no spacer. That's the size of my washers, more or less, right? So I've got to get this bushing out, put in that pedal, and try to get this bushing spacer thing off. Man, this might be a couple part series. Oh, the carnage. All right, finally got the bushing. A chrome 3/8 drive, 1/2-inch socket, fits right in there nice and smooth. Got the bushing knocked out. Of course, I boogered it up a little bit. No biggie. Problem was, to put it in this pedal, it had a little bit of, it wouldn't press in. So I took another 1/2-inch socket, put it on the bench vise, sat this on top of it, and took the one I had and put it on top, and just whack, whack, whack with a hammer a couple times. And what that did was, and when it smashed it in just a little bit, it made it bigger around. So it's in there good. So by the time we get this all lubed up, nice and tight, nice and smooth, we'll get that full of grease and we'll never have another bit of problem. How this one cracked, it's hard telling. It just could have been wear. It could have been it was wear moving inside of here, and it finally just cracked. Don't know. But I do have the spacer that goes between the pedals now. Now we can finally move on. We're going to call this pedal box restoration. Is that a thing? I got the wiper motor in, got it all cleaned up. I thought the whole assembly would slide through that hole, but nope, you got to take it apart to get it in there. I thought so because it looked kind of funny where somebody had it apart, but that's why. You got to take it apart. So here's what I'm doing now. Little good old. There's where the mechanics come through, and there's our cable. It's all cleaned up, and I'm lubing it up as I go. Taking the pivots, cleaning them up, get them packed full of grease real good, and we'll put this in the hole and put the plate back on it, put the next section in, take it apart, put that, you know, it's a snowball effect, dominoes, you know. Yeah, anyway, these are real nice shape, so that's good. And we get to lube them, and we won't have any funny noises, and it'll work good forever, as long as this car's going to be around anyway. Well, I stopped. We're going to have to revisit it later. I believe there's something missing between here and here. I know I'm missing this part and the nut. They might be and all that, but we're not going to mess with it. I'm over it. I just want to get something accomplished tonight. You can see where the witness mark is where it goes through the body, so they're not going to go through the body and stick that far, and it was binding the cable tube thingy anyway. I'm done. We'll continue on with the brake thing. I don't know what I was thinking. Found an old master cylinder, and it's a good thing because somebody was nice enough to put the bolts in it for the new one. Something I wanted to show you. These copper washers. A lot of people say, well, you can't reuse those. Well, I've got new ones because I was probably not going to be able to find the right ones. But they're crush. They crush to seal. So it's one of those things, tighten, 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 snuggy, 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 stop. Because you can keep going. You'll keep on going, and you'll destroy that crush washer enough that it won't seal, or you'll break the bolt because you'll feel it crushing, and you just keep going and going. So the other thing is, these are different sizes, right? That's different than this one because of the shoulder. Now the shoulder centers it in the elbow, and you'll see that this one is the size of the banjo bolt itself. Okay, so one screws in here and one screws in here. One goes this way, one goes that way. This is the clutch side that goes around to the clutch, and this is the brake side, because our pedal assembly comes out here with our push rods right here that adjust right through there. Okay, it kind of faces backwards, so I'm going to put them on now because the firewall is going to be like right here and kind of tough to get to, and it's going to be fun making the lines bend around to screw in there, and that's where your copper lines, or your not copper but copper nickel, whatever, your brake lines and your yeah, they screw in there. So let me get those on. We'll get it set into place. See if we can get something done. Well, noticed that these banjo fittings, just like you see right here. Oh, hey, look, there's an adapter. And the brake does not have a banjo fitting, so I have two banjo fittings for no reason. But anyhow, I noticed that that's not going to fit. That's too small. So that's why I had this adapter. Okay, figuring it out. Pipe dope, thread tape. This isn't thread tape. I'm going to show you this stuff. There's a part number. This is impervious to gasoline, brake fluid, transmission fluid, engine oil, any kind of chemicals, and it's some mean stuff. So once I screw it in hopefully on the right side. I'll probably have a tough time getting it out, but it's not going to leak. So let me cram that in there, put one of those on there. Jeez. See those bolts? Those bolts? Yeah, that's a pain. It's a pain in the rear end. Got my wires ran. Master cylinder is going to bolt through those holes and those holes, and I'll go ahead and grab my pedals, get them set in there. I want to get them in, get the bolt going, and then I can put the boot on with the little cap and those 4 bolts. And actually there's going to be P-clips, one here and one here somewhere, so I guess it don't matter. I'll figure it out later. I always take a bolt back out. Man, our nice restored pedals, painted flat black mostly. Bushings are all good. There's that replacement one. I got the little sleeves in there. Everything's greased up. Here's the spacer that goes in between, ready to go, and the bolt. So this will be fun. I'll be sticking an arm through that hole and holding the pedal up and trying to, yeah, okay. All right, so getting ready to throw this master cylinder in. You got to remember, this is pointed towards the front of the car. So underneath that cowl and up against that firewall, I've got to be able to hook up this right here, and then this right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and bend my lines and leave them straight out so that, you know, save a guy some back, save the back a little bit. So first of all, right over here, this is the line that goes from the master cylinder down to the union for the brakes and the brake switch and all that stuff. What you don't want to do is, what I don't like to do, is go and try to straighten it out, because that's what we need to do first. I wouldn't mind. Now we're going to straighten it out first. So nice hard surface. I got a towel here for heck's sake, I guess. But if you hold it down, hold it in the rotation that it's, you know, straight up and down perpendicular, and just roll it right up against that hard surface. And you're getting a lot better at making it straight than having it look like this. A lot of times you buy brake line, you're going to make your own brake lines. It comes in a great big coil. And I've took it and pulled it through a piece of pipe. Just, and that'll straighten it out real nice too. There's lots of different ways to do this stuff, so it's whatever you do. Okay, that's straight enough. Let's do the same thing with this. A little bit bigger. This is for the clutch. Let's do the same thing. Just a little harder. Keep it straight up and down best you can. And it'll just end up being straighter, is all. But it's a little wavy. Not the end of the world. We got to bend it around and route it where it needs to go. I just like starting it with something straight, unless I'm something straighter. Okay. Ooh. Now we need to make some pretty hard bends, and we'll show you how to do that in just a second. All right, so what this has to do is come out, down, and straight towards the front of the car. This is the front of the car. You're really staring at the back of it. So what I want to do, if I quit making a mess. Now, I can screw it in there and just go, but you don't want to do that because it's going to kink. I like to take a socket, big socket, or a piece of pipe in the bench vise. They have tubing benders, obviously. So what I'm going to do, put it right there through my finger, and I got the socket right there. So I'm just going to, nice and easy. You want to watch it because you don't. You'll pinch that line off. So you want a little kink right there. I think that'll be fine. Something such like that. So then it's got to go down and over. I don't know. I'm going to guess maybe that far. This thicker stuff's just a little bit harder. And you can move it. That socket's just kind of terminating where you bend it, all right? You don't want to go and wrap it all the way around that socket, because especially this bigger stuff, it'll kink and you're done. So it'll be something like that. Screw it in there. So we'll see how it fits. I can stick it in the car and see. Man, it's pretty tight quarters. sort of be something like this. All right. So I'll just go ahead and screw that in there. Well, I'm gonna set it in the car first. Let me see how it fits. All right, looks like it's gonna fit about like I want it to. Set that on the side. Now this one has to go up and over and down, so it's not even really that sharp from the pictures I've seen. I'm gonna have it, there's a hole right here, right? So I'm gonna have it go whoop, kind of right around the bolts. This will be quite a bit easier. And I'm just going to hold it on that socket. Kind of pulling. I'm probably going to give it a crook to come over. Something like that. And then I'll keep going around because I don't want the line right here. It keeps you from getting fluid in it. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it just like that. I can mess with it, but at least this way I can get that line tight, both lines tight, get them on, and I can slide this whole thing in there and go on about my night. Yeah, got her all started routed. There's more P-clips and stuff goes on down through here. They both go down that way. But gotta put cotter pins in my pins yet, but I might have to adjust those adjustable rods, so I'm not going to just yet. Look at that. I also got a pad for the accelerator pedal. I'm going to paint it. I got to run a new cable and a return spring and all that. But look at there. You know, yeah. Well, that went just grand. Super. Sometimes you just have those days. Spent way too much time fixing that pedal, but it's fixed. It's all together. Run some more lines. We're gonna have brakes and a clutch here for too long. Another video too. This thing will be running. Had a viewer send me some pictures. We'll call him Richard Vieira, something like that. I know I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, Richard. Same color car. Thanked me for the videos and stuff. And his is running. Beautiful car. Good job, buddy. And I told him, I said, man, I said, fixing these old cars is like fighting these little bitty battles, these little series of battles. And he's winning. I'm not sure that I am. But we're getting there, a little bit at a time. I'm not an MGA guy, so I didn't take this car apart. Don't buy one that's all tore apart that you haven't put together before. You know, 57 Chevy, I could buy that all tore apart, put it back together. Because I know it's a GM, not an MG. But hey, look, it's 1:42, 1:45 in the morning. I started at, I think, 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's been a long night. My feet are so numb and cold, I think they're going to fall off. What you do, you have those hard times, you have those hard nights, those hard days. You think you're going to get all this stuff done, and you get it like this much. That's how it is. So what I'll do is I'll spend a couple days away from this thing, kind of get planned in my head again, and march right on through. Because we don't give up, do we? Nope. But do me a favor, spread the word. Share the video with somebody who likes details like this. It's an MG, but a lot of this stuff goes with a 57 Chevy or a Dodge truck, or, you know, it's all about the battle. Spread the word for me, and I'll see you next time. And I sure appreciate you guys coming back. Really, it means the world to me. This car wouldn't be nearly this done if it weren't for you. Peace. Remember, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. And I'm cold. See you guys.